How many bears do you know? Well, I'm sure you heard of black bears, koala bears, panda bears, polar bears, teddy bears, or maybe even gummy bears. But there's one bear you probably do not know about. In the gay community, we have our own bears too.
So in the gay terms, a bear is generally a larger, hairier gay man. However, over the years that has kind of evolved. So a bear these days can be anyone that wants to identify with the bear or bear community. So we all often say, you know, it's for bears and those that love bears.
Bear, I think, is just a person who is a little heavier set, a little stockier, probably a little hairier.
I think it's kind of an ideology of a subculture which identifies a specific weight or a body type in a gay culture.
A bear is, I'd say, fundamentally someone who is heavy set, has a bit more weight than usual. Although these days, some might say being a bear is more of an identity thing, because there are a lot of guys of all different weights. Some I would say quite skinny, others quite heavy, all identify as a bear. So I'd say these days it's more of an identity thing.
Yeah, so I've always been a bigger person, and I've kind of known about the bears as, you know, bigger gay people. Growing up in Queensland, there wasn't really, where I was at least, there wasn't a bear community, so it felt very out of place. Moving to Melbourne obviously is a complete culture shock, and there's so much diversity here. My introduction to the bears wasn't always the best. I wasn't always a hairy, masculine presenting person. I was, you know, just a bigger femme person. So back when I first tried to sign up for the bears, I wasn't really looked at in the same light as I am now. But over the years, I started going to more bear parties and getting involved in the bear scene. Eventually, I started doing drag as well, and through that began hosting some of the bear events for their various competitions. And then that got me a little bit more involved in the bear community. Eventually, I grew a beard, became a bearded drag queen, and really like dove into the traditional bear look. And yeah, I've just really found comfort in myself as a bear over the last decade or so. In the back of my mind, always been insecure about my size. You know, it was always a comment here or a comment there, even from a family of like, oh, you look like a toad because you're fat and things like that, which really, like, for a child, that was really damning, and it stuck with me, like, from you know. So like being bigger and growing up in the areas I did, it's very much that society of like the stick thin, beach going, like, you know, society body. So I've always felt outside of that. I mean, it sounds so dumb, but I wasn't seeing myself reflected in media, whether that's, you know, within the community or, you know, more adult indulgences. So I started posting myself online and getting that online validation. Which really helped kind of affirm that, you know, my body is desired. And while I don't always love myself, there are those out there that do. And that helped me accept that I'm a big person, I'm beautiful, I am desired, I belong here just as much as anyone else. So yeah, now I probably love myself a little bit too much. So some would say I have quite the ego, but yeah, when you've worked so hard to love your body, you gotta. And so in 2024, I first competed for Mr VICBear. I wasn't successful, unfortunately. I didn't win that one, but I did come away with Mr Congeniality sash because I helped others throughout the process. and then having the fun of the second experience. I competed again in 2026 and was ultimately the winner. And yeah, my whole vision for the title is to create community and connection, and show people what it takes to give back to the community, not just turning up and wearing a sash, but doing the work behind the scenes, mentoring others, pointing people in the right direction for where they can find their community or friends that they don't know they've got yet.
My name is Martin. I just moved here from the US. Moved from Fernandina Beach, Florida. Now I'm here in Williamstown, in Melbourne. I've always been a little chunky growing up. Like my nickname growing up in Mandarin was Kwan Kwan, which like literally translates to wide. So I guess that's always been part of my identity. So yeah, I guess I've always just identified as a little bear, and I've never really considered anything else.
When I was growing up, no, I didn't really see any bigger Asian bears on TV or in films. I think the closest thing I would say was maybe in like a American sitcom, and they were always, skinnier. In American sitcoms, if there was anybody even bigger, it was probably more to fill the goofy, stereotypical funny dad role or an uncle. So no, I didn't really see much representation about bigger Asian guys in the media. I think that gay men probably find body positivity more through their friends, because honestly, like if somebody wore a new swim trunks to the pool, we'd be like, yes, girl, you look good in those, because I think the media is definitely more focused on a certain body shape.
I was born in New Zealand, grew up in Adelaide. I've also lived in different cities in the world, Beijing, Taipei, London, and Los Angeles. I'm currently living in Melbourne, Australia. Probably when I was living in China, I first identified as a bear. I gained a lot of weight when I moved to China. I went from, probably around 80 kilograms to maybe 96. Beijing was a transition period for me. So the gay scene's not necessarily as developed in Beijing as it is in Taipei. So when I went to Taipei, there were a lot more things I could go to, events I could go to. And people were pretty accepting and, willing to talk to me in both cities. It's interesting because in some senses I became more at ease with myself when I became a bear. I liked the way I looked, but there's always that conflict of, if you're too big, you're going to have health issues. And I did develop some health issues and I'm still dealing with them today. So there's that do I stay as big as I am or do I lose some weight,
Okay, my name is Troy and I'm originally from Hong Kong and I used to live in Brisbane for 7 years. I recently also moved to Melbourne since last October. I think when I was young, I feel like not really good looking and I don't have breed before. And when I getting older, my breed is naturally grow. And I feel more people like being that look in Hong Kong. I think I'm very attractive for some of the people. Literally, I feel very comfortable with my body shape. It's just like, I know that it's not a healthy standard. So I try to lose weight just for healthy. Yes.
There's so much more room for people to have real conversations because I think there's being body positive for bigger people, and then there's actually accepting bigger people. You do get people who are bigger and say, I love big bodies, but then they hate themselves. And it's a real contradiction, but that's ingrained by society. So yeah, while it is spoken about a lot in the gay sphere, I think there's a lot of work that can be done to be healthier about the way we look at our bodies, no matter what size. Yeah, I would love to see everyone comfortable in their own skin, regardless of how they look. But yeah, it's a journey.
Got a pot of bear soup on the stove, in the kitchen filled with honest love. You're the big guy with the scruffy face. Fill a bowl and fill a head.